Hi, I'm Erin, and this is Our Wyoming Life.
Jam, salsa, pickled peppers, and pie filling are some of the canned goods that you will find at our farmers market booth in the summer. The variety changes throughout the season as the crops change. Right now, raspberry jam is the plan.
Canning is something that I grew up watching my mom do every summer. We eat what we can, and what we can't, we can. Fortunately, Wyoming has food freedom, and it allows for the selling of home-produced items and canned goods direct to an informed end consumer. I'll can a variety of different items throughout the season. At the beginning of our market season, I usually just have a few jams available. This year, though, I will have some salsa available that I made at the end of last season, late in the fall. A few years ago, Mike made me a jam display stand. It looks really nice on the table, and it has room for 14 different varieties. That is pretty ambitious, and usually I don't have quite that many. Plus, I'm waiting on some summer crops to ripen before I'll make them into jam. Colorado peaches and Montana flathead cherries won't be ready for another month or so. But I would like to start the season with about 8 different jam varieties. A majority of my fruit is purchased at the grocery store when it's ready and ripe in season. Raspberries were on sale, and they were very tasty, so today we will make them into delicious jam. Before I prepare the fruit, I ran my new half-pint jars through the dishwasher to sterilize them. If you are new to canning, I would check out the USDA guidelines for home canning. It can be somewhat intimidating for beginners, but it's actually very simple once you get the hang of it. You can also check with your local extension office to see if they offer any home canning classes in your area. Raspberry prep is very easy. Squish them. A potato masher makes quick work of some rinsed and drained raspberries. A batch of raspberry jam takes about 4 cups of mashed fruit. Today, I have enough raspberries for 2.5 batches of jam. 10 cups of mashed fruit will be needed in total. Once measured, they are dumped into a heavy bottom pot. The heavier the pot, the better the heat consistency will be, and your fruit will be less likely to scorch. I turn the burner onto medium-low to bring the fruit to a boil. While the fruit is heating, I add the calcium water. I am using Pomona's Pectin and following the recipe that is included when I purchased the Pectin. I need a little under 2 tablespoons of calcium water. A separate pack of calcium is included when you receive Pomona's Pectin. You can make a batch and leave it in the fridge for several months. The calcium is what activates the pectin and allows the jam to set. Next, I get the sugar ready. 5 cups of sugar is what the recipe calls for. 5 teaspoons of the Pomona's Pectin gets added in and mixed into the sugar. I will be water bath canning the jam today. I have a different pot that I use for the processing. It gets filled with hot water and placed on the stove. The burner gets turned on to high, and a generous amount of white vinegar gets added to the pot. We have ridiculously hard water, and the vinegar helps keep the jars looking clean and pretty. While I'm waiting for the raspberries to come to a boil, I stir them occasionally. Once they're boiling, the sugar can be added. The sugar gets added slowly while the fruit is stirred, and I continue to stir for 1 to 2 minutes to make sure that all of the sugar is fully dissolved. I then wait for the mixture to come back up to a boil. Once boiling, the pot is removed from the stove and over to a wooden cutting board that I have placed onto the counter. I have the jars next to me ready to go, as well as a funnel and a large ladle. The jars are filled to about 1/4 inch of the top of the jar. It's necessary to leave the headspace in order for a vacuum to form and for the lids to seal. After everything is filled, I wipe the rims clean with a wet paper towel and then place the lids on. The lids have been soaking in some hot water while I was filling the jars. Rings get screwed on and then we're ready for processing. I use this handy green basket to process the half-pint jars that I use for jam. I purchased 2 of these baskets several years ago in the canning section of a local store, and on occasion I still see them. They work great for the smaller sized jars. Into the boiling water goes the basket. For our elevation, I process for 12 minutes for half-pint jars. You can check with the USDA guidelines for jam processing times for your elevation. After 12 minutes, the jars come out and are carefully moved to a wire cooling rack. They will sit overnight to fully cool and for the jars to seal. If the button doesn't suck down or pops back up, then I will discard the jar. I discovered Pomona's Pectin a few years ago, and it is really an amazing product. I can use less sugar than with the Pectin that you traditionally find in your local grocery store. This allows more of the fruit flavor to shine through. It also sets the jam 100% of the time. I never have to worry about having loose set or runny jam since I switched to using the Pomona's Pectin. You can find links below to where you can purchase some of your own. Canning for me really is something that I love. It's summertime in a jar. Plus, the fruit always looks so pretty once you're done. Once these jars are cooled, there's still more work to be done before we're ready for market. Every jar gets 2 labels. One label with price and all of our contact info on it, and then another label that has all the ingredients listed. I also place a small square of fabric underneath the ring to make them look pretty in their display rack. Now there's going to be lots more canning happening this summer. More jam has to be made, as well as some pie filling will get made later on in the season. I also try to reuse any of my crops that don't sell at farmers market and then turn them into a canned good. Pickled peppers are always really popular and very tasty. Canning is definitely a life skill that everyone should have. Plus, the zombies are coming to eat our brains, and we don't want to starve to death before that happens. Like, subscribe, comment, and share any of our videos. Help us get the word out and help us bring the consumer closer to the producer. Thanks for joining me in Our Wyoming Life.